2 days ago, the Earth trembled under a lunar eclipse, not the kind that shakes the ground beneath your feet, the kind that reaches into the deepest chamber of your chest and rearranges something quietly, like a hand sliding old furniture into a new position in a darkened room. You may not even know yet what moved. You may just feel that something is different. We're telling yourself has a strange new weight to it. That is where we are on March 5th, 2026. We are standing in the hush that follows thunder. The eclipse in Virgo has already spoken. And what it said, if you were listening with your body rather than your mind, is that the old version of normal is not coming back. Not because something terrible has happened, but because the sky has been building towards something for months. And right now, in this precise moment, several cosmic forces are holding their breath before the next movement begins. And you are alive inside that pause. That is not nothing. That is everything. Let me take you into the sky. The sun is moving through Pisces around the 14th degree, and if you have ever stood at the edge of the ocean just before dawn, that still, gray, undecided hour where the dark hasn't fully lifted but the light hasn't quite arrived, that is where the sun lives today. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It is the place where everything dissolves before it can be reborn. It is not a sign of endings so much as a sign of becoming. And the sun, our source of identity and vitality, is swimming deep in those waters right now, making it harder than usual to know exactly who you are, what you want, or which direction you're actually walking in. If you felt blurry lately, unmoored, unable to articulate what's wrong, there's nothing wrong with you. You are just living very accurately inside a Piscean sky. Now here is what makes this specific Thursday something worth paying attention to: Mercury. The planet of thought, language, memory, and communication is also in Pisces, and it is retrograde. It has been retrograde since February 26th, spinning backward through the sign it finds most disorienting, and it won't recover its forward motion until March 20th. Pisces is widely considered to be Mercury's most challenging placement in classical astrology, because Mercury wants precision, it wants logic, it wants a clear path from A to B. And Pisces says, there is no A, there is no B. There is only the feeling between things, the dream that points toward truth without stating it directly. So Mercury retrograde in Pisces is not just a technology glitch warning or a don't sign contracts season. It is a time when the mind turns inward and begins speaking in images rather than arguments. You may find yourself flooded with memories that arrive without invitation, songs finding their way back into your head from years ago, dreams that are disturbingly vivid, almost architectural in their detail, conversations replaying in a new light. The strange feeling that you already knew something you're only now putting into words. This is Mercury retrograde in Pisces, doing exactly what it is designed to do, pulling back the rational curtain to reveal the deeper narrative your soul has been trying to tell you. And on March 5th, Mercury is approaching a very significant moment. In 2 days, March 7th, it will reach what is called its cazimi, the precise degree where it aligns with the heart of the sun. This is an ancient term, Arabic in origin, meaning in the heart of the king. When a planet is cazimi, it is not burned or weakened by its proximity to the sun. It is elevated. It is illuminated. It is granted a kind of rare clarity and power. And so right now, today, Mercury is almost at that threshold. It is in the hours before the revelation. The mind is reaching toward the light but hasn't touched it yet. This is the space between confusion and understanding. This is the place where you almost remember something important. That feeling, the one you may have been experiencing all week, that something is about to click into place, that is not anxiety. That is intuition. That is Mercury. 2 days from its moment of clarity, pressing against the veil. But Mercury is not the only planet riding in this sky. On March 2nd, just 3 days ago, Mars crossed into Pisces. Mars is action, courage, desire, the force that moves us toward what we want. And in Pisces, that force becomes something unusual. It becomes current beneath the surface rather than fire above the ground. It becomes the kind of drive that operates through feeling rather than strategy. You may have noticed in the last few days that your motivation has changed texture, that you can't quite push yourself into things the way you could a few weeks ago, that forcing feels counterproductive, that the things you find yourself drawn to are softer, more mysterious, more emotionally charged than your typical goals. This is not a weakness. This is Mars in Pisces doing something rare and valuable. It is asking your instincts to lead rather than your will. In the weeks to come, Mars in Pisces will move toward the north node of the moon, reaching an exact conjunction on March 13th. And that alignment will carry the full weight of fate and direction. But today, Mars is 8 days away from that moment, building quietly, gathering depth. There is something you are being drawn toward. You may not be able to fully articulate it yet, but your actions, your choices, even your distractions right now, they are pointing toward it. Meanwhile, something enormous has just shifted at the level of the solar system's architecture. Saturn, the great teacher, the boundary setter, the planet that separates what is real from what is merely wished for, entered Aries on February 13th. This is not an easy placement for Saturn. In Aries, the sign of the self and the pioneer, Saturn finds itself in what astrologers call its fall, the placement where its nature is most challenged. Because Saturn wants order, patience, and long-term strategy, and Aries wants to leap now, without looking. Saturn in Aries is the paradox of trying to build something that requires both tremendous courage and tremendous restraint at the same time. It asks you to begin radically, boldly, as if your life depends on it, and to build slowly, carefully, as if your legacy depends on it. And then, on February 20th, just 3 weeks ago, Saturn made one of the most significant alignments of the entire decade. It conjuncted Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, 2 planets, one at the very first breath of the first sign, standing side by side. Saturn and Neptune have only been in conjunction once in a generation. The last time was 1989. Before that, 1952. These are the years when the boundary between the real world and the imagined world goes thin, when collective disillusionment is followed by collective revisioning, when people stop believing in one thing and begin, hesitantly, believing in another. What collapsed in your belief system last month? What structure that you thought was solid turned out to be built from something more fragile? And what new dream, quiet, unformed, almost embarrassing in how much you want it, has been emerging at the edge of your awareness? That is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction doing its work inside you. And on March 5th, we are only 2 weeks beyond its exact peak. The pressure of that meeting is still active, still in the air, like the smell of rain long after the storm has passed. Saturn is now at approximately 3 degrees Aries. Neptune is just behind it, hovering just past 0. They are separating, but they are not done. Because here is what the sky is showing us. Saturn will be Cazimi in the heart of the sun on March 25th, and Neptune will have its own solar Cazimi on March 22nd. These 2 giants are each being called into the center, one by one, within days of each other, in the same sign, in the same month. The sky is not repeating itself. It is completing a sentence. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in February was the beginning of a thought. The Cazimis in March are its conclusion. Whatever was seeded in late February, whatever realizations broke open in you, whatever began to restructure beneath the surface, is being formalized now. Between February 20th and March 25th, you are living inside a single, unfolding transformation. March 5th is its middle, and there is still more. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, meaning faith and abundance, is in Cancer, and it is still retrograde, but barely. On March 10th, 5 days from now, Jupiter will station direct at exactly 15 degrees Cancer. When a planet stations, when it stops and reverses its apparent direction, it hangs almost motionless in the sky for days around that moment. Its energy becomes concentrated, amplified, almost unbearably focused on the themes it rules. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer has been an inward expansion for months, a deepening of emotional roots, a revisiting of home, family, belonging, the deepest questions about where and with whom you feel safe. Many people have been processing what it means to feel cared for, what they were never given, what they have been withholding from themselves, what home actually means when it is not a place, but a feeling. And Jupiter is about to turn around. It has been moving backward through those emotional depths, and in 5 days, it will face forward again. The gifts that Cancer and Jupiter together can bring: emotional intelligence, nurturing abundance, the healing of the mother wound, the sense of safety from within rather than from outside, all of that is gathering momentum for its outward expression again. But today, on March 5th, Jupiter is still in its final hours of retrograde gravity, still pulling inward. If you have been feeling something enormous building in your emotional life without a clear outlet, if there is a sense of something very large pressing against a door that hasn't opened yet, you are right on schedule. The door opens in 5 days. Now, let us speak about 3 signs that are living the most intensely inside this sky. For those born under Pisces, or with Pisces rising, or with significant placements in that sign, the month of March 2026 is unlike anything you have experienced in years, possibly decades. You have the sun illuminating your sense of self. You have Mercury retrograde turning your mind into a deep, dreamlike ocean of memory and meaning. You have Mars freshly arrived, giving your instincts unusual force. And you have the North Node, the point of destiny, active in your sign, drawing life in your direction like a current pulling toward the sea. This is a time when Pisces is not swimming aimlessly. It is being guided by something it cannot see but can absolutely feel. Trust the pull. Not every direction needs a map. For Cancer, the sign in which Jupiter is stationed, suspended in that final beat before direct motion, the feeling right now is one of expectation that's almost uncomfortable. Like waiting for news you know is good but haven't received yet, Jupiter in Cancer in direct motion is one of the most abundant placements in the zodiac. It is warmth and belonging and emotional generosity flowing outward rather than inward. Cancer, you've been processing. You have been healing. You have been learning what you actually need rather than what you thought you needed. In 5 days, that knowledge gets to move. Get ready for the expansion to begin expressing itself in the world rather than just inside you. And for Virgo, the sign that held the lunar eclipse just 2 days ago, on March 3rd, the sky just shook the foundation of something. Virgo is the sign of service, health, discernment, the sacred ordinary. The full moon eclipse in Virgo illuminated everything that was out of alignment between effort and meaning, between work and soul, between the way you take care of others and the way you fail to take care of yourself. If something shifted for Virgo at the start of this week, it was not destruction, it was revision. The eclipse ruled by a retrograde Mercury in Pisces means the clarity will arrive slowly, through feeling rather than analysis. Give yourself time. The realization you're waiting for is not going to arrive as a logical conclusion. It's going to arrive as a feeling so familiar it seems obvious, like you already knew. Briefly for the other signs, Aries is holding both Saturn and Neptune on its threshold, feeling the strange tension of wanting to run and needing to stand still. Scorpio is being asked to release what it has been holding in shadow, with the nodal axis running through Pisces and Virgo, pulling the unconscious to the surface. Libra's moon today, waning gibbous, letting go, is a reminder to release the need to balance everything. Some things are not meant to be held in perfect equilibrium. Some things are meant to lean. If you zoom out far enough from this single Thursday and look at the larger architecture of the sky, what you see is astonishing. We are living in a year when Neptune and Saturn have both settled permanently into Aries for the first time in a generation, when Jupiter is completing its exalted stay in Cancer and preparing for Leo, when Pluto is beginning its long, unprecedented transit through Aquarius, slowly dismantling and reconstructing the collective experience of technology, humanity, and power, when Uranus in Gemini is electrifying how information, communication, and human connection operate across the world. These are not background details. This is the century-changing texture. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries is asking every person alive right now, what do you believe in enough to build something real from it? Not a theory, not a hope, a structure, a practice, a life that is shaped by what is most true about you. And the answer to that question for most people involves some combination of deep loss, hard truth, and unexpected beauty arriving at the same time. March 5th, 2026 is a Wednesday in early spring. It is 2 days after an eclipse. It is 2 days before Mercury reaches the heart of the sun. It is 5 days before Jupiter turns toward the future. It is inside the long reverb of one of the most significant planetary conjunctions in 30 years. It is the day that Mars in Pisces deepens its gathering. It is the moment when Venus stands at the very edge of Aries, ready to cross into fire tomorrow, carrying beauty, pleasure, and desire into the same sign where Saturn and Neptune are rewriting the rules of reality. Everything is in motion. Everything is in relationship to everything else. There are no isolated events in this sky. It is a single piece of music, and you are inside it. In the coming days, watch for things to accelerate. When Jupiter turns direct on March 10th, something that has been waiting may begin to move again. When Mercury reaches its cazimi on March 7th, something you have been unable to articulate may suddenly have language. When Venus enters Aries tomorrow, the quality of what you find beautiful and what you find yourself wanting may surprise you with its boldness. But for today, on this quiet, luminous Thursday, the invitation is not to push, it is to receive, to let the stillness of Mercury retrograde do its strange and valuable work, to let the deep pull of Mars and Pisces lead you somewhere your strategy wouldn't take you, to let the questions raised by the eclipse in Virgo remain open a little longer, because the most important answers are still forming in the dark. There is a version of your life that is trying to emerge right now. Not a dramatic version, not a version that requires you to throw everything away and start over. A truer version, a quieter, more accurate version. The kind of version that comes only after a certain amount of dissolving, after a certain amount of listening, after a certain amount of sitting with the uncomfortable feeling that the map you were using no longer matches the terrain. You are in new terrain, and the sky right now is with you in that. So I want to ask you something before you go, not as a prompt, but as a genuine question to carry with you into the rest of this week. What have you been trying to understand rationally that might only make sense to you emotionally? What belief are you still rebuilding after something that collapsed in February? And what is that feeling? The one that arrives quietly before you've had a chance to overthink it. Actually telling you? The eclipse spoke 2 days ago. Mercury is almost at the light. Jupiter is 5 days from turning around. The sky is not asking you to figure it out. It is asking you to feel it out. If anything in this resonated with your own experience right now, I would genuinely love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me what you're moving through. Tell me what shifted for you around the eclipse. Tell me what you're waiting for. This community is made of people who are taking the sky seriously as a mirror, and every comment adds something real to the conversation. And if this kind of astrology speaks to you, subscribe. We do this every day. The sky never stops moving, and neither do we.